Welcome to the Female VC Lab podcast. I'm Barbara Bickham. I'm here with Maggie. In one line, give me your name, your title, and the name of your fund.
Hi, Barbara. My name is Maggie Vo. I am a managing general partner and chief investment officer at Fuel Venture Capital. I'm also a chief investment officer of Maggie Capital Acquisition Corp. And very happy to be here.
Thank you so much. So, Maggie, what inspired you to become a venture capitalist?
I was born and raised in Vietnam. I went to school in Kentucky, and I pursued a double degree in financial economics and math. I also got my CFA designation, and if you guys knows about CFA, I'm very proud of it because it's one of the
That's
most
tough.
respected
That's a tough one.
designation in the financial industry. I have been in the fund management since I started my career, and I know that investment is my passion. I went to work for Prudential PLC in Vietnam for public funds, and then moved to Singapore working for real estate funds. And right before Fuel Venture Capital, I was a portfolio manager managing a global long-short equity hedge fund. And the reason I'm doing that is because I know that I want to work with my clients and advise them, helping them to build diversified portfolios to generate returns for them. And to be able to do that, I need to understand different asset class. And that's why I moved from one fund managing different asset class to the others. And that's what I did. And about 4 years ago, I noticed that because of the all-time low interest rate back then, and the equity market just getting more and more expensive, a lot of my clients start looking out of the traditional investment like stock and bonds and looking into more like alternative investment like private equity and venture capital. And I follow the money flow and notice that a lot of money flowing into private equity, venture capital. And as a portfolio manager, I decide that I want to leave the public market to join the private market so that I can go and look for those opportunities so that my client can gain access to those opportunities at a very early stage. And on the other hand, when in the public markets, when you come up with like great ideas, you want to help the companies that you invest in. Those are the company already on the public market, very big, established.
Right.
If you call them, the only person you probably will talk to, like investor relation, you never get into like CEO or founders. So you can have a great idea, but nobody going to listen. So when I moved to venture capital, I feel like my life is very meaningful in a way that I can leverage my experience, my knowledge to help the founders and be a part of their journey. So I think that bringing the opportunity to my investor, and on the other side, that being able to help founders have been a motivation for me to become a venture capitalist.
That's awesome. Wow. What a wonderful background. So, what is your investment thesis and kind of the motivation behind your thesis?
The investment thesis of Fuel Venture Capital, which we always articulate with our investors, is if investors want to add the number 7 or 8 VC fund to their portfolio from their Sand Hill Road, we are not their fund. The reason that we are in Miami is for our conviction in Miami. The fact that Jeff Ransdale, our founder and managing director back in the day, before that, it's actually cool to be in Miami and running a VC fund.
100%.
We already established our shop here, and our mission is to provide investor with a portfolio selection which look different from one of the one in California. So we're looking for companies across the globe. Our portfolio very diversified from Europe to Latin America, the East Coast. Actually, the smallest components is from the West Coast of Silicon Valley. So that's from the geographic standpoint. From the tech aspect, we are industry agnostics. We only we're looking for founders who know how to leverage transformative technology to build companies that grow exponentially. So we have a couple of spaces we really like, such as fintech, big data, marketplace, SaaS. And on the more like innovative, or you would say that future forward looking side, we do invest in robotics, AR, VR, and space tech.
Wow, that's pretty great. So what are you currently learning or listening to or reading these days, Maggie?
So one of the things I enjoy the most about my job is because we invest in different technology, different verticals, I do have to read a lot. And every day is everything I read.
We have to read a lot.
Yeah, and I think that's is I find it as something I really enjoy about being a venture capitalist. But one topic recently I have spent a lot of times reading and learning and build a deep knowledge around it is fintechs. So at Few Venture
Mm-hmm.
Capital, we recognize the need of fintech and also the role of fintech companies in both the developed countries and emerging countries. So about for the past 18 months, we have increased our exposure to fintech significantly. And we, in fact,
Mm-hmm.
we did it ahead of the curve to get into very exponential groundbreaking companies like Curve in the
Yep.
UK, Lunar is a neobank in the Nordic
Mm-hmm.
region. Taxify is right now back here in Miami, and then Recarga Pay and Novo Payment in Latin America because we're in Miami,
Mm-hmm.
very
Mm-hmm.
close to Latin America. And if
Right.
you follow fintech verticals, every $5 investment in VC today, $1 is going to fintech. And every
Wow.
3 new unicorn birds, one is in fintech. So that's just showing you the momentum in fintech right now. And I had to
Cool.
read a lot about fintech. From fintech is broad, but I have to like
Fintech
build
has,
my
yeah, many
understanding
different.
about, yeah, neobank to banking as a service to payment structure. And I think the reason I want
Right.
to do that, I want to have a broad and a deep understanding at the same time so that I can find a synergy between the company that I invested. And then I
Mm-hmm.
connect them, I find business opportunity for them. I believe that's how
Right.
value is created.
I agree with that. If you can help give them customers, or like you said, strategic partnerships or something to that effect, you're adding massive value to the company.
Mhm.
So here we go, Maggie, the famous bonus question. Everyone gets it. In 2 years, when we're talking, how do you see venture capital or investing having changed or evolved? How is it going to be different?
I think one thing COVID happened over the past 2 years had brought a lot of uncertainty, but there's one
Mhm.
consensus that technology will play a bigger role in our life. And as a result, the pandemic has accelerated the technology adoption in our daily life that you probably will use
100%.
more, yeah, apps or more things
People
and
are
more
using way more
open-minded.
Zoom,
Yeah,
think
more
about all the
open-minded.
Zoom that got happening,
Yeah,
or and then
exactly.
everybody's remote working as well. Look, everybody had to go home. So how did that
Yeah,
evolve even from a workplace perspective?
exactly. And even people who always say no to Instacart because they want to go to the supermarket by themselves, they actually don't have a choice. So they're more open-minded
Yep.
to, using a new technology, and not just from consumer standpoint, but also from enterprise standpoint. And that's
Mm-hmm.
benefit the VCs play in a big way because we are
Right.
funding technology company at an early stage, late stage, and taking them on the way to exit. So as a result, if we follow the VC landscape very closely, and 2021 has been completely gangbuster for the innovation economy by most measure.
100%.
You can track it from VC investment to VC funding to unicorn birth and all exit activities.
Yes.
So
Yes.
one
100%.
thing that I noticed, because there's so much fun in the private sectors, companies really don't need to go to the public market early to raise fund. And in fact, they don't want it
Correct.
because going to the public market, you pay more fee, have more cost, and also
Mm-hmm.
you an open book for everybody to look at and analyze you. Right. But
Yes.
that is the expense of the public market investor. They no longer get access to company at an early stage. Most of the public market
100%.
is shrinking and the companies there are bigger. And when you're big, it's very hard for you to generate more than 20% growth rate year over years. So public
Yes.
market investor are missing out on considerable gains as a result of missing out on home value creation during the early and growth stage. So I'm seeing
Yep.
from the investor standpoint, I see that venture capital will become more like a mainstream asset. It's no longer like a
Oh,
luxury.
wow.
It's more like a necessity. People should have an allocation to venture capital. And the way we
Mm-hmm.
see things here is if you look at the Yale endowment models they have right now, this has been very high at 23% on-time high for over the past like 5, 6 years. It's just an upward trend. And then for
Right.
family office or individual investor, you see they allocate around 10% to 15% depending on their risk and return profile. So I'm
Right.
excited about it because I'm moving from the public market to the private market, specifically in VC. So that's just confirming my belief that my decision back 4 years ago. So that's one
That's
thing.
great.
And then another thing is also COVID has brought another trend forward, which you can see
Mm-hmm.
that people don't have to go to work and be in the place that where the company is located. They can work anywhere.
Correct.
And I think
Yep.
that's the main reason why we set up shop in Miami 4 years ago. That is actually our belief. With the technology these days, you can build a company anywhere, and a unicorn can be born
100%.
everywhere, not just in Silicon Valley. And Miami, with a
100%.
very diverse workforce, multicultural community, and a great tax structure, very welcoming government, has attracted a lot of founders and funds here over the last few months. We invested 50 million in South Florida, in Miami, and as a leader in the local tech community, which we try to support our local tech community. So I think
100%.
that we will see the trend that there will be more rising entrepreneurial hub or startup ecosystem everywhere. In America, in Europe, you see a lot of like new hub, just like the way Miami has getting spotlight over the past month, no longer a game of Silicon Valley. And the last trend,
that's actually very important. If you think about it, having those different hubs, like, it's very important.
Yeah, and the last trend, which I think both you and I are very excited about, is I see more women founders out there now building companies, raising funds,
Yes,
and
I do.
making their company public. And as a minority and a woman,
That's
also,
huge.
I'm super excited to see that. And as a female general partner sitting at this position, I really want to do everything in my power to put diversity, inclusion, and gender equity at the forefront.
That's very important. I believe in that as well. Diversity, inclusion, gender balance. I
Yes.
call that untapped, because they're untapped resources, right? If you're just scratching the surface of it or trying, it's really a massive market that you're missing. So,
Yeah.
All right, Maggie, how do people get into contact with you?
The best way to get in contact with me is via LinkedIn. You connect me on LinkedIn under the name handle Maggie Vo. I also have my Instagram is me Maggie Vo, MY Maggie Vo, and also my email is maggie@fuelventurecapital.com.
Thank you so very much, Maggie Vo from Fuel Venture Capital, for being my guest on the Female VC Lab podcast.
Well, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to be here.
Thank you.